All right, my friends, grad show every Wednesday, every Thursday. Wednesday is the under 1,000 crowd. And we start off with Blade. I actually quoted Blade. We do a Dojo digest every month and send that out to people. We spam them. We spam them. Anyways, I look for a quote, usually from the program, but sometimes just a fun chess quote. But I put in Blade's quote here. In an age of overwhelming information and confusing guidance, the dojo provides structure for learning and progressing. Okay, so congratulations, Blade. Let's go see how it looks over here. By the way, I continue here to do this thing where I'm using the beta layout, and that's not only for you guys to see, but for me to kind of check to see how it looks. So here we have this look. You can see it looks, this is a little bit odd. Well, it's not odd, but it's just because he's in a new cohort. He's got all zeros here, but we have this training algorithm here. You can see, actually, let's go training plan. And so this is, for example, what he's done. Like he's done some chess media, mostly chess media this week. And then you can kind of see how it went, right? Okay, great. He can't see this yet. This is just something we are rolling out. He's done 3 hours. That's a little bit. It still doesn't make any sense to me. No, it does. It does. Well, okay, here's where it doesn't make sense to me. Up here it says 5 hours 15, and I know that that is the, if I expand all, no. If you don't do anything, that's the default. Like I changed mine to 15 hours a week. But then this says this week 3 hours. I don't understand. Actually, so this is why we have the beta. They're probably, and every time I do this, I share it with Jack, our amazing the dev person, and he's always like, "Kraai, you're so dumb." He doesn't say it that way, but he's just like, "Dude, this is the reason it looks like that." But I'm gonna snip this later for him and show him what the problem. I just don't understand. Like, yeah, no comprende. Okay, in any case, let's go see clubs, Blade. Oh, he's all kinds of clubs. UK Dojo. Now that means football, and F1 is that the Europeans like that Formula One kind of stuff. Okay, do we got a game, Blade? Oh, we got a game. By the way, this, both today and tomorrow, I think are going to be fairly light. Sometimes we have 30, 40 people. This week we don't have that many, so hopefully it'll just be a mellow time for us here. Now, time for the standard Jesse yells at people segment of the show. Here we have a time graph where people are moving way too fast. Check out my vid. Oh, yeah. Check out my vid, dude. I just did a vid on our site called Deep Work. Actually, I'm going to plug it here. And I think we've talked a lot about why it's so hard for people to move slower, but I think I drilled down on it in this video. Thank you very much. And this video also kind of changed my own life in terms of my own habits. So I'm going to just plug this. I think it's very important here. So we're going to plug it in L Twitch, and I'll plug it in L YouTube. All right. So there it is, too fast. Now we're going to go game review. Okay, fine. And so GF. I never know what to do following this set of moves. I was aware that once black knight g4 that my pawns were going to be double stacked, which I know weakens my pawn structure. I thought it'd be good to threaten the knight, but I don't know really how else to avoid the double stacking. Well, first of all, it's called double pawns, and second, you just take it. And, you know, you're not only developing your queen, but you are also not messing up your pawns. Okay, now e6, kind of a weird move. I think e5 makes more sense. Weird. Now, something that is just should be very clear. In fact, let me just give you the spiel. I give this every week. For under 1,000, there are really 3 things you need to get good at. The most important is not hanging your stuff. The next important is learning how to slow down, okay? Like in that time graph I showed. And then the third is learning how to develop your pieces. And honestly, learning how to develop your pieces is the simplest of those 3 skills. So for example, in this position, you have to make some kind of pawn move to get this out. So the most natural move would be d4. But also acceptable would be one of these bishop moves. Get him out. Even this move, a little weird, but it's fine. You're getting your people out. f4 does not get your people out. Okay. I don't like it. Now this pawn is really all alone. Okay, good. Check. Weird. Something like bishop d6. Why is it weird? Because the queen is in the way of the development of the bishop. Like I'm saying, you got to learn to develop your stuff. Queen e2, poor. You should play bishop e3 because the queen doesn't belong on e7. Snip, snop, develops your bishop for you. Castles. Okay. And this guy's obsessed, clearly, with doubling your pawns. Oh, okay. So, knight c6, good move. I'm glad you're developing. Anytime you develop, I'm going to be happy about it. King d7, f5. Why don't I like it? Because it's not developing. h5, totally weird. Totally weird. Maybe knight e4 is a better move. Bishop b5. Okay, good. You're developing. g5. Terrible. Thank you. Thank you. And now, knight e4, you have a very tricky position, honestly. What neither you or your opponent saw is that f6 is a key threat. Okay? So we need to do something about that. Yeah. You played c4. And honestly, maybe this is fine. Maybe I take it back. I take it back. It's fine. Because you're undermining this guy and you actually have some juice over here. Okay, so actually c4, great move. Notice, though, you only spent 51 seconds on it. Right? Now, that looks poor. Bishop d takes c4. And I was thinking he should play rook takes f5. That's a good reason for us to play king f1. Notice I'm spending more time on this game than you did. What is the problem with dc4? Well, you could have won a piece with d5. Skebix, hello. Hello, Falgra. Okay. Now we got all kinds of things hanging. Okay, this looks wrong because now I don't understand why this isn't hanging his knight. Now, let me stress the 3 things that you need to do for getting over 1,000. It's not hanging stuff, and it's taking your time. So he just hung a knight with knight takes d4, and you would have had a really good chance of finding said move if you hadn't played f4 in 16 seconds. Now, knight f3 is a good move first for black. Yeah, so, all right. Now you see rook a d1. And now rook e7. Rook out of harm's way, you say. Okay. Simple chess. And then here's a bizarre move, rook g8. So, by the way, in these especially let's say under 500, the games are usually decided by somebody hanging a rook like this. So now we see check, and I don't know, but maybe the guy could try to escape by playing king d6 here to try to do a little bit of magic. Now it's all over, though. And then he just resigns. Okay, so Blade, welcome to the dojo. And just focus on those three things. Don't hang stuff, learn how to develop, and take your time. That's it. That's it. And let's go back here. So this is Blade. We got some ratings. Maybe some tactics tests might be a good thing. But there you are, 412. I think we're going to see you again soon. Keep it on, keep it on. All right, here we go. Next up, we have Tish Razazi. I don't know. Let's go check Tish Razazi out. Fix the grad show template. Tish Razazi just got here, I think, fairly recently. They got all kinds of clubs for the Battersea London. Okay. Hammersmith. Nice. Let me click on Hammersmith, actually. So there's Matt. Okay, so check it out, you guys. Matt is the one helping out now with our vids. He is living in the island of Jersey, where I think it rains nonstop, and goes over to London to play some league games and stuff. He's got a really cool Instagram thing that he's got on his own chess improvement you can check out. Really cool vid stuff that he's doing with his own chess improvement. Okay, but there's Tish Razazi. We'll go back and we'll see ratings. Ratings. It's 452, hasn't done any tactics tests. Clubs. Oh, we already looked at that, correct? Come on. Games. All right, here we go. This one is, I'm going to pick this one because it's a little longer, a 30+0 rather than a 15. Oh, okay, we don't look at games that don't have annotations, though. Yeah, so very important. I know you're just new to the dojo, but the whole idea, actually, I haven't given this spiel in a long time. The dojo was premised on 3 fundamental ideas, okay? And one of them was that playing longer games and analyzing them is a key pillar of the dojo. The next was what we call the principle of plus minus equal. And that is you have games reviewed by you get taught by someone who's higher than you, and you teach someone lower than you, right? And then what's the third one, Kraai? I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old. There's a third one. But first we're going to read Afiko. Afiko says, after graduating this cohort a first time a bit too hastily, I demoted myself because I lost 20, 30 odd rating points and wanted to finish the Polgar and everyone's first chess workbook tasks. I played a dozen new games with a 30-minute time control. Haven't had the time to annotate them all, but love your thoughts on my last published loss because I'm not sure how I could have done better. Okay. Fine. Yeah, and the engine at this, yeah, it's controversial at all levels, but especially where you are now. And again, Afiko, I'll just say what I said earlier. Like, what you need to do is not fancy engine stuff, but like who's hanging stuff, who's not developing stuff, and who's not taking their time. Those are the 3 pillars. I was talking about 3 pillars before the dojo. Now we're talking about 3 pillars of getting over 1,000. Okay, so here we go. This is Afiko. And there we go. She's doing a lot of tactics, as you can see. Looks pretty good. This, of course, is our new beta. And she's got a tactics rating of 637. And actually, Afiko, I saw somewhere on our Discord, you were complaining that you got screwed over by some of the tactics tests. I thought it was a checkmate test that you were upset about. In any case, that you were upset and that ruined your tactics score. You can do more tactics tests, and it averages the last 3. We are working I would say this. I was going to say we were working diligently on our tactics test, but first we're working on this beta thing. And once we do that, I think that problems and the tactics are our next main concern. Okay, but the good news, Afiko, is before you feel bad about it, Now maybe I understand, because you're at 637 and you're like, wait a second, I should be like 775. This tactics test thing screwed me over. I understand. Definitely, again, like I said, you can do more tactics tests, and the checkmate test, after you've done your Polgars, you'll crush that checkmate test. Okay, so I think she's in France. Okay, right. I just remembered Europe. All right, next games. Now, the last published loss is what we want to do. I guess it's this one right here. Boom. And Skebik says, but the checkmate test, I have asked it a couple times. I did it when it started. I closed the window, and now I have 700 forever in those. I don't know what that means, Skebik. Maybe you could say a little bit more. Okay, so I think this is the one she is talking about. Let me just go back here and just, aside from bishop b4, so we'll be looking for a bishop b4 in there at some point. So far, so good. d6. I think this is fine. You could have taken on d4 too. But d6 is a great example of just a principled move. It's fine. Okay, bishop b5. Good move. Knight d1. Now we have you're better. You're better because the knight on d1 is not developed. So, good move. Opponent takes. Knight e5. Bishop e4. Great. And guess what? You're still better. Castles. And now bishop c2. Okay. This is fine. It's a little frisky. We could have also considered bishop d6, but I firmly believe that bishop c2 is fine. Now let's do something. This is our time graph over here. And we do want to definitely say, Afiko, that you are a victim here of moving too fast, as is your opponent, right? So one of the main things to think about here is us moving a little slower, right? We got to do this a little slower. Now, I'm a little worried, actually, I'm not looking at the right game because I don't see a bishop b4 thing here. I'm just looking. Oh, yeah, I know, I see it. We are in the right game. Okay, so let's go back to the game review. And rook e1. And now you castled. Bishop b4 is the right move here, I think. Now, one of the things I want to say about bishop b4 is we really, really want to think of the move bishop b4 because, yes, it's a tactic, but it's a developing move. So remember those three pillars: development, taking our time, and not hanging stuff. Now, look, when you castle, you only spent 24 seconds on that move. Now, I can tell you, if I'm playing this game, this is a complicated position. I don't know what to do in 24 seconds. This is a complicated position. And when you castle, we got to worry about this knight takes f7 stuff, right? Skebik says, the tests expire, but the score remains. Okay, I'm going to take a look at what you're talking about. Skebik's tactics score. He did it. Won't change. Okay, so castles. Now your opponent plays their next move in 15 seconds. Oh no. Oh no. So knight f7 is a whole shebang of interesting stuff. And I can't immediately evaluate it. So for example, the question would be snip, snop, snook, snark, And now, is there a way for me to trap the knight and then play g6, bishop g7? I kind of don't think so. I kind of don't think so. But that would be the thing for white to have spent a little bit of time considering. All right. Now, the easy move for you here would not be rook d5 because rook d5 allows knight f7. Let's just park it. Just park your bishop. You're up a pawn. No problemo. No problemo. All right, rook d5. And now I think we've got some grief for ourselves. So bishop a7 is a very frisky move. I don't know. The simple move would be for knight c3. What does white need to do? They need to develop their coconuts, right? So bishop a7, frisky. Is he losing with b6? Maybe. Did you miss knight e3? I'm going to suggest you did. So check it out. The next thing to consider here, and again, I don't know if this works or not, it's just something we have to look at, would be snip, snop, snark, snook, b6. And now we ask, is he done? Well, he might be done. He might be done. Now, this is a little scary, but I still don't see how he takes advantage of any of this stuff. So, Afiko, the problem is not your chess. The problem is you're going too fast. I'm going to put that video in the chat again. Bang. You are going too fast. That is what's killing your chess here. I put it twice on YouTube. No one had even said anything. All right. So, too fast. All right. So, knight e3. And now it's really freaky here. I don't know. Rook d7. Knight e5. And you say rook d2 is a poor move. But I get it. It's hectic all of a sudden. It's no longer simple. I don't know. So rook d2, he goes snip snap. Now, white misses something here because they move too fast. They want to get the bishop out, right? So a way to get it out would be to hit the bishop. They could hit it with the other rook too. The bishop goes away somewhere. Let's put it here. And then snook. Okay, so boom. Oh my gosh, that's maybe, maybe. If I was going to try to win the bishop, though, I would say to myself, wouldn't I just do this? Because if I win the bishop, it's game over. And it's not easy to see how they're saving themselves. Like here, I'm going to win that bishop. That bishop's made me angry. I'm getting that bishop. Okay. Knight d3. Does it make sense to me? Not really. Okay. A strong move would be knight c4. Rook a2. And then, it's pretty hot, actually. These positions are hard. Does knight b6 do something? Does bishop b6? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not that, talented. I need a moment. I need a moment. More than this guy, 34 seconds. Thank you. Good move. Maybe knight e3 was fine. All right, so now we're up a pawn. h3. Okay. Rook d2. Now, with rook d2, I feel like you are scratching at white. And what you really want to be doing is developing your people. So knight d5 makes sense. Rook e8 makes sense. You're not up a pawn, but you can eventually move your c pawn. And now here, c takes b6. And you say, this is where I lose the game. Let me stress, this happened because you moved too fast. You have plenty of time left here, and you only spent 25 seconds on this. Notice, it's a move that looks potentially winning. So if you're winning after this, you could take 5-10 minutes on this. No problem. Okay. So now, how bad is it? That's a good question. c5, knight e2. Now, the next thing, Afiko, very important. You're playing somebody who does not have the skills to knock you out here. Okay? So you're down the exchange, but what the annotations show and the time is that you were feeling bummed out. And you were like, nope. Nope, I'm done here. I don't have any chance. No, this guy's going to give you loads of chances still. Loads of chances. So, king c7. b5. Okay, I like that move. It's fighting. Snip, snap. How about rook f8 now? Okay, king c6. Rook f8. Good move. Good. Uh-oh, now we're in trouble. Good move. Good move. Good move. Good move. b4, please. I don't understand that. I hesitated to push my passed pawn instead, but was worried about their g-pawn getting too close to queenie. Now, Afiko, you got 3 seconds played for this g5 move. You've got 17 minutes left. Your opponent isn't thinking either. So take a moment, and as long as they can't take that pawn, you want to play b4. And this is what I mean. This person will give you a chance. You're going to play king b5, and you're going to be looking to play that b3. You have 3 pieces supporting that pawn on b4. This king is way far away. This is not so easy for white to convert. Okay, g5, king g3. I'm not thrilled with king g3. b4, good move. f4, little controversial. b3. Now, this one's one where I would need to think about it. Yeah, I would need to think about this one. So your opponent plays rook b2, and that's a mistake. And the question would be, what about rook c3? Because they need to stop rook d3. So they give you this chance. Beautiful. And you took it. Now you're doing fine. Now who knows who's better? King g2 doesn't do anything. King b5, very good. h4. f3, check to the miserable king. Good move. Good move. King f1, and now we want to say, how come Afiko didn't play bishop a3? Right? Bishop a3, you're winning the ball game. And actually, a very important thing just to see about rook endgames, I don't know, let's just put this here for a second, is it's not just that you're up a pawn. It's that your king is so much more active than your opponent's king. Like, you're going to go and mess with him and just start pushing. Push him, baby, push him. You are still winning this. And here, very important, if we can avoid it, we really want to avoid trading rooks. So could you have avoided it? Yes. You could have played check to the miserable king. And I don't know, let's say here, check to the miserable king, king f1, and something like bishop c5. We're doing, excuse me. He can't play king f1, Kraai. King f1, he gets nailed. Look at that. So he's going to have to go all the way to the side in a sad, sad way, and then maybe a move like rook g4. And we're on top. By the way, this is one of your longest things, 1:29. You had plenty of time. Could have spent more. Now, this is a little advanced, Afiko, but I'm going to bring it up. There's a variety of ways I've used to explain this following dynamic. White's rooks kind of are doing the same thing. They're stronger than the bishop and the rook, but your bishop and rook are doing 2 different things. So that's why we'd rather not trade the rooks off here. We'd rather find a way to keep them on, right? And you can see here, now that this has happened, it's a little bit harder. Now, I still think you're doing fine, and you need to play a move like king c4. King f2, now it's getting hot. b2. Rook b1. Not a great move, because now king b3, c2. Good. Good. All right, let's just see what happens. By the way, I don't understand bishop g7. You played it in 6 seconds. Move your king over. A little weird for me. I don't know why we're doing that. Now we might be in trouble, actually. Our king is so far away. Yo, no, Fico, this is the killer right here. Oh, God, no. Now they're just coming around the mountain. But we made it. Whew, I was a little lucky. Ooh. Now, I got to say, that scares me. Oh, no. Okay, this is an important pawn in the game. King f7, you're drawing this thing. Right? King g5, you're lost. So here's the important thing. This was a losing move here, King g5. Played in 4 seconds, if you go. Now, maybe you could say, Jesse, I didn't know about that king and pawn endgame. Well, imagine taking 5 minutes here. Maybe 10 minutes. You got plenty of time. Now, maybe 10 minutes is a little too long, but because you got 11 minutes left. But even so, 5 minutes here to make sure you're doing okay. Because after king g5, oh no, we're done. We're just done. Okay, Afiko, I can tell that was a very hard loss. I want to stress here that you're making good progress, and once you slow down, okay, you're going to see more, and your rating is going to fly up. It really is mostly at this point about slowing down. If we look again quickly at this time graph, right, you got to slow it down. Okay, let's continue. Grad show, boom. Next up, we have Skier Brian. Oh, this guy's graduating all the time. Skier Brian says, the dojo really works. I am crushing it at the chess club and took down another 1,500 in a rated game. The longer games plus analysis is great. Polgar M2s saved my bacon in this last game. I believe in the process I am engaged in. Would prefer a review of my game with Mike Bergeron in my recent games here, and would appreciate Jesse's perspective on when a6 and h6 are good prophylactic moves and when they are bad because they break the pawn wall in front of the king. Okay, so we're going to be looking for that game. We'll first click on Skier Brian's profile. Skier Brian, he's doing pretty good. Look at this. He's a young pup at age 51. Young pup. Dang. He's been busy with the kids, too. You know what? I want to say, I've heard this Pathfinder thing, but I don't really know what it is. First of all, it's a role-playing game, but I don't think that's what he means. Maybe it is what he means. Oh, maybe it's like, okay. I'm confused, honestly. There's all kinds of Pathfinders out there. I feel like Pathfinder is some kind of... He's probably not... maybe it is. It's some kind of D&D thing as well. But maybe there's a different way in which he's a Pathfinder. In any case, here we go. I digress. Maybe somebody can help me out. So, first of all, we'll go down here. 863 with the tactics. So, tactics are commensurate. Looking very good. And then we're going to look at clubs. I'm in that 50 plus. I'm the chess dads and moms. Great. You can see the activity here looking amazing. And we'll go games. And here it is, Mike Bergeron, as expected. Now, one of the things here I want you guys to see is this is a 90 plus 0 game. So let's look at the time graph. Boom. So 90 plus 5 seconds delay. And that's a pretty good use of time right there. Fantastic. I suspect this is an OTB game. Maybe there'll be some kind of hint later. Usually when people have their own names, though, that's what they're talking about. So this... I would like Afiko just to look at this time for a second. Notice, too, like when Afiko plays online, they're playing that 30-0 stuff. It's not just that it's fast, but you're distracted, and you are playing somebody who's moving ultra fast themselves, and that's like, nerve-wracking in itself. All right, let's go game review. So, okay. This is a great comment. White does me a favor by opening with something I have no knowledge of because it forces me to play opening principles. Thank you very much. Good move. Good move. Good move. There you go. Bishop G2. Good move. Okay. Knight F3. And you say Bishop G4. Funky. Too aggressive. It does not pin the knight. Leaves B7 unprotected. Now, let's just say it is maybe the wrong order of things. Okay, I would rather you say played knight c6 or castled. However, what is this little eye thing icon? Oh, move found during the game, move not found during the game. Okay, great. That's a new thing actually that Jack added. But in general, especially for where you are in your chess development, this is fine. As long as you're not actually hanging the b7 pawn, and I don't think you are. So knight g5, poor move. Why is it a poor move? Because it's not developing, right? So from the perspective of development, what do we want? We want to play knight c6. Now the good news here is you did think for 4 minutes, and what we're going to say is you probably just missed bishop takes b7, and as we've already talked about, at this stage in your chess career, that's the kind of thing that's really going to hurt. And the bummer, the ultra bummer with queen e7 then, is that now you can't even move like the knight to take back with the queen, you know, when they zap you here. I don't know, it's just flitted through my memory. When I was a kid and I would set up the pieces, I would never allow myself to set up the pieces like this without the bishop first because I was so traumatized by getting taken there, man. Faugra said the 50-plus crew, the club, hit 100 members, and that's really cool, yeah. Now, I also wanted you to see that your opponents are going to play loads of moves like this, which seem like they're threatening something, but they're actually not doing anything. And they're definitely not developing. Queen e7 looks to me, it feels psychologically like a move where you're like, I want to babysit this pawn so he doesn't mess with me. He's not doing anything over there. He's not doing anything. All right, here we go. Queen e7. Okay, might as well. So, fine. Fine. Now, of course, we're lost, but we're going to see if we can fight this out. Okay, good. Good. Poor. Okay, so now you're back in the game. Now we're back in the game. Good move. Bishop d2. Rook b8. Now you say that this castling long is a mistake. I have some sympathy for white doing it. Maybe I would play bishop c3 first or something like that. But it makes sense. You blocked him off over here. That was a cool thing you did. So there was no castling that way. Queen b7. Now I think definitely bishop c3 makes a lot of sense. Okay. Bishop d7. Interesting. I also like knight d4. Bishop e6. That doesn't make any sense. You talk about queen b6. What is these new icons here? What is the little phone icon? Move found reviewing with another player. Well, that's really good, actually. That's really good. Look at this little icon, you guys. This is all Jack's new thing. Move found reviewing with another player. Check that out, dude. So let's look. It's actually really good. Boom, boom. Boom. I think, yeah, white's in big trouble here. Boom. Yeah, we're mating him. We're mating him. Now, I think the game could actually continue with a move like king d2, but if we can get this position, we're not going to complain, right? Hi, Jake. So bishop e6. I want to stress it doesn't do anything. That's the main crime with bishop e6. Now you say he's winning. Knight d4. Okay. Queen a3. Looks poor. Thank you very much. And now you play e4, which you like. Interesting. Bishop, knight takes, pawn takes, boom. And now you say plus minus. Now I think you mean maybe that you're winning here. It's obviously very complicated. He goes king a1. I think queen d6 looks interesting. Good move. Okay, I don't know if it's really doing anything. Queen f3 is good. Nice. Queen b2. g6. Fair. Queen f6. And this is a move not found during the game. After my break, I came back to this move and thought it was over for me. I thought I was able to focus and spend time to find my next move. If I do nothing, then rook takes g6, queen takes e6, and he's punched a big hole for only -1 point. Good note. Also, queen is threatening. Rook d6, good move. Looks poor. And now rook g1, king d7. Very nice. Now we're going to run. Run, Forrest, run. Queen e5. Do I understand that move? Not really. Now, d2 is very frisky. Okay, here we go. Rook g7, king c8. Queen c5, boom. Good move. Wow. And I think he's done for, honestly. I don't think he's stopping anything. So this is a remarkable game. And this is going to be what's called mate. Nice, simple chess. Checkmate. Okay. So, Brian, that was great, dude. That was great. And simple things. First of all, I think this is a huge improvement that I want other people to see, is that because he's playing a long game and it's OTB, like, dude is taking his time. And the difference in quality shows, right? The next things we want him to focus on, though, are not hanging stuff, okay? And realizing, I did a whole course that's come out on Chessable, by the way, Mastering Time in Chess. Realize you're going to get hit with this even when you pass 1,000. They're going to be playing little moves like this that sometimes threaten, sometimes don't. But they don't know they don't know to develop their pieces. What would be White's best moves here? Castles, d3, maybe d4. You can. Those are the moves. d4 actually I don't think works because bishop f3. But those are the moves that dude needs to do, right? It's not that hard. But instead they're going to do things like knight g5 all the time. So learning how to take advantage of that, which is to say, that lost a tempo, and we defend the b7 and just gain that tempo. We say thank you very much. We're doing great. Excuse me. Okay, so well done. And next we have Hallibo. Hallibo says, fix this. Most of my training has consisted of completing tactics from the Steps Method series, which was a bit cumbersome to add on the scoreboard in the past. I think now it's pretty easy. I also tend to upload my classical games into Elite Chess Study, but I plan on using the dojo to analyze games in the future. Beautiful. Okay, let's go look at, it's not Hallibo, it's Hailbo. Quad asks, is there a dojo discount on the course, or do you have a link to the course that you can put up here in the chat? Yeah, I can put up a link. We don't actually have, it's funny. You know what? I'm going to write them again. I feel like there's so many ways that we could work with Chessable. And in the past, they've been kind of just slow and lame. Slow and lame on it. So I would love for there to be a discount, I think, too, when we're doing stuff like we a lot of times have Chessable courses in the program, and yeah, there should be some thing where we send people there and they're happy about it and yada yada. Anyways, here's Hailbo. Hailbo says they started in 23, but it looks like they got serious more recently here, and you can see that with their heat map. A lot of people, honestly, are just now, like long-time kind of people who weren't that serious about their training with the heat map. They're like, oh, now I'm all in. Now I'm all in. Okay, as you can see, this is really good that Hailbo is using this OTB for their progress. They got an amazing tactics rating based on crushing 2 checkmate tests, so that's good. And we're going to expect Hailbo to really start flying up there just because the tactics are so high. Even if one of these tests was out of this world, you know, like an outlier, even so, look at those scores. Dude is ready to go up. Okay, so clubs. What do we got? No clubs. Games. Oh, Hailbo. Hailbo. I think what Hailbo has said, though, was that he's got some games in Elite Chess Study. Right, he just needs to upload them. Just needs to upload them. Okay. Actually, if we go training program first for a second. So we can see he's doing his steps method and stuff. The Plunder games. This is what he's done. This is what we want him to do. Okay. So, great. Next up, we have Wheat Belly. And Wheat Belly says, I hope Jesse likes the time graph in my latest game. Okay, quick story. So Pruess was doing a stream, and somebody said, yeah, I was there at this OTB. So wait, let me back to that. We have a rule at the dojo that you can't count it as a classical game being played unless you use half your time. So half the allotted time, right? So if you know you're a lower cohort and you only need to spend have a time control of 30 minutes, if you spent 15 minutes, we're like, okay. And that was just a dumb thing that we created to encourage people to think longer. So anyways, this guy in the stream with David was like, yeah, you know, I just sat there until I had used half my time because I knew I wouldn't get a dojo. Boy, I wouldn't get dojo credit unless I did it. And it's funny, but it's also like, yeah, well, that's why we did the rule. If you just, it's hard probably to sit there for you, but even just learning to sit there is going to get an amazing gain long term in your chess. All right, so this is Wheat Belly. And there, Wheat Belly's doing a lot of tactics. Joined fairly recently. Got this beautiful bump to get over the 1,000. Getting over 1,000, really amazing. Tactics rating, this guy's flying. I have a feeling if they fix their checkmate tests, they would be doing even better. Okay, great. Clubs, nothing. Games, and I think he said the latest game. Let me double check that. Yeah, in the latest game. Let's go check it out. So we're going to take a look at the time graph. Oh, yeah, buddy. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. So this is a game in 1 hour. And his opponent had an even better time graph. But we are very happy that Wheat Belly was able to think. All right, here we go. Game review. Mark reviewed. Good. 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 Great. Great. Little funky. And what has Black done? The minor crime that Black has committed here is they've blocked their bishop. Yeah. So they have a poor piece. Good. Poor. Absolutely unnecessary. This was to prevent the pin in case I wanted to play rook e1 or d5. You should play rook e1. Don't worry about bishop e4. I don't like knight b6. Good. Oh, I don't like that one. So the problem with this knight takes is when he recaptures, now look at your bishop. It's very unhappy. So moves would be more interested in are like rook e1, bishop g5, developing moves. Okay, good. Black plays well too. Okay. Weird, rook c1. Put your rook on e1, son. b5. Frisky, but maybe makes some sense. One thing I'd like you to see is that this bishop needs help. And when you play c3, I'm hoping you're aiming to play bishop c2. Okay, now we want to play rook e1. Great. Good. Bishop a6 was superficial. Good. Queen f3. a5. Queen h3. I like this. I like what you're doing a lot. Okay. Now, by the way, this is a very hot position right now. This guy plays h6. I don't know. Rook e3. Good. Oh, this is, I just want to say, this is really grandmaster play. You are conducting a nice attack. Knight e4. And now you say you don't like this because of now the d4 pawn hangs. And I guess you might be right. That's a real bummer. So it's unfair, honestly. It's unfair. So it seems like we deserve to have rook g3. And then we are threatening queen h6, and your opponent believes you, but you're right that this is just a cold shower right there. So wait a second. Let's go back. Knight e4. It's definitely annoying what he's doing to us, because if we don't really want to play f3, maybe we should. Yeah, maybe we should play f3. By the way, anytime you give a question mark, say what you think you should have done. Okay, so pop, pop. He believes you and plays king h7 in 31 seconds. Okay, now queen g4 makes sense to me. g5, that's frisky. Queen h5, in principle, I like it. King g7, and now you played rook h3. I think what I would want from you here is more time spent when you played rook h3. Oh, you spent 2.5 minutes. To me, h4 looks very strong. Maybe a sample variation could go like this. Pop, pop, pop. Well, queen h6 is, no, queen h6. Pop, he's got to go king f6 to protect his queen. Check. And we got him. In fact, we'll be crude and we won't even take the queen right away. We'll want it for free. Okay, so h4 looks strong. That isn't it. He needed to play rook h8. Check to the miserable king. Check to the miserable king. Now you got him. Okay. Queen f6, fixing the pawn on f7 with the idea of attacking it again with rook h7. Now, let's just say there's been many moments in this game where black and you missed queen d4. Queen f6 looks reasonable, though. What I don't like it is I don't want to let him trade queens. I think this guy deserves death, like right now. Also, our queen is protecting this pawn. Okay, the move I like is rook h7. We hold this guy. We intend h4, and if we need to, we'll think about queen h5. All right, queen f6. Now we go to an endgame. And this kind of endgame isn't so easy. Yes, you're better, but this one isn't so easy. Let's play rook h7. Good move. b4, poor move. Knight g6. So definitely we need to say b4 question mark. What does he need to do? Maybe actually, maybe he's in deep doo-doo. Maybe he's in the deep doo-doo. Oh, I guess he's got to play this nasty king e8. That's nasty, though. See, there's no, wait a second. King F, oh, look at this trick. King F6, and it seems like we got out, but no. Oh, it touches the rook. It touches the rook. So B4, good move. Good move. And now we're just winning. C takes, good move. Good move. Rook C7, please. Rook H3, weird. Weird. H4, no. Oh, good move. Okay. Actually, relates to Fico's game because we talked about there how we want to have the rook trade. So, brilliant. B5, please. Thank you. B6, thank you. Doesn't do much. Good move. Thank you very much. Okay, that was a great game. And one of the cool things actually we saw from the time graph was that he moved kind of quicker towards the end. And that was okay. He was totally in control. Maybe he could have slowed it down a little bit. But that part of the time graph, you know, like here were the critical moments, and then it was mostly easy from around 30. And I think that's about right. Okay, good. So, let's go back, grad show. Quad just got my course. Nice. Nice, thank you. Well, tell us how you like it. Okay, so boom, boom. What are we doing next? We're doing no, we're done. We're done. Okay, so a couple things. We're not done with the show, but we are done with the grad part of the show. And what I needed to do, okay, we had this very importante sensei question. So we're going to look at Chess Caviar. So let's go maybe I just search like that. There it is, Chess Caviar. I missed their, I didn't miss their graduation, but they somehow had games up and I didn't see it. I don't know. In any case, I'm going to look at one of his games now. And also, he just submitted a sensei question. On our site, you can give us questions to the sensei if you're a member of the training program. And let me just read to you what he wrote. Since joining the dojo about a month ago, I've made rapid gains in rating for the first time in my chess journey. I attribute it all to the dojo, specifically the structure for playing classical games and engaging in analysis, along with the opening principles. It's unlocked something as far as my mental process goes. I've been working through the required materials, but slower than my gains. All of this leads to my question. During periods of rapid growth, where I'm graduating quickly from cohort to cohort, do you recommend I finish required readings from the lower cohorts before picking up the new material? This is a very common question at the dojo. Example, I'm still working through the first book of Morphy and want to finish it before moving on to logical chess. These books feel fundamental, but this places me several cohorts back. Is this the right approach? I'll give him a little response here, and we'll say, in general, you should move on to the higher material, but by all means, finish that Morphy book for your own, what should we call it? For your own chess education. Excellent. Submit. Okay, great. So, let's go look at one of Chess Caviar's games. So, there's some short games here, but I want to pick one that was 30-20, or I don't know which one to pick. Well, let's do the 30-20 just because it's more recent. So, first we're going to look at the time graph. Oh, it's a brutal time graph. Brutal. So, there we go, my friends. So basically, both players Not thinking much more than 20 seconds here. All right, Chess Caviar, you know what I'm going to... I don't need... I've already done the rant so many times today. This one's the worst. Check out the latest vid. All right, do we have that? Actually, anyways, yeah, let's copy that. And I'm going to put this in here. By the way, I've done a lot of videos on YouTube. This one I did about deep work, I felt like that was a breakthrough for me. And not only how I understand my own chess training, but other people's. And doing this grad show, at times I'll admit, it's like, oh, I got to do it again. I learn a lot about chess and chess teaching through this. You know, like if you had told me that there would be a bunch of time graphs that looked like this, I wouldn't get it. So I had to see thousands of them before I really appreciated. And I'm working on it. But like this last video, for example, I did, I feel like I'm like, okay, I'm almost there. I think I get it. Sherrod Blade, very much, by the way, congratulations on your graduation. We covered you earlier. Let's go to this game review. Is your course suitable for my rating, or shall I wait to over 1,000? Well, I'll say this. This course that I just published is the second About Time. And I did another one called It's About Time, and that was meant precisely for players under 1,000. So precisely because I've done this show so many times, I was like, I can teach them quickly what it means to develop. And that is the course for you, Blade. That is the course. After you're 1,000, do the next one. But the first one, called It's About Time, let's see if I can get a link to that. That's what you need, because what we really saw in your game was like, oh, we need to develop. And it's, like I said, of the 3 pillars for learning how to progress to get over 1,000. Learning how to develop is the easiest. You know, in my course, It's About Time was meant to be very fast. It was not meant to be super hard. Some people are upset. They're like, Kraai, this course isn't long enough. And I'm like, wait a second. I'm trying to show you in a very compact amount of time that if you are under 1,000, you can learn to develop with this course, and it won't take you that long. All right, here we go. We're going to get into this. This game, I think Chess Caviar spent more time analyzing it than he did playing it. Here we go, E4. So far, so good. Fine. Okay. A little weird. This is definitely a trap. He's hoping for like D6, B4. Okay. So, good move, D5. I like it a lot. You're developing. Now, there is some interesting questions. E takes, knight takes, and now H3. And you write 3 pawn moves in a row, obviously incorrect. Now, where it does get a little spicy, now I don't know if I believe in this, but we do want to check it, is could white have played B4, and now we cannot do bishop B6 because we get trapped. We cannot do bishop D6 because we get nailed. So we play bishop E7. He whacks our knight. And then, I don't know, let's just put it here for a second. And then knight E5. Have we lost a pawn? That is the question. Maybe. Maybe we've lost the pawn. Now, quite possibly we have good compensation after bishop F6 because we're so far developed. But I just wanted to say that would be the thing I would want to check. Okay, H3. Too many pawn moves. You're absolutely right. You doubt that the computer would flatter you by saying this is a good move. I like it. Yeah, I like it. I'm still a little concerned about B4, but your development is so strong that if he tried to take something, he would be opening the position. Hi, Alex. Castles. And now knight F4. I don't like it. Now, there's a great opportunity for people in the under 1,000s to think about knight F4 and wonder why I don't like it. I don't like it because your knight's already developed. It's doing something. All right, let's read what you write. And by the way, the main problem here, Chess Caviar, is you're moving way too fast. You write, this is interesting because of the time spent on the move, about 30 seconds. You overestimate. It's only 18 seconds. It says right there. I also didn't consider knight e5 beforehand because e5 looks sufficiently protected. But I didn't examine the idea through a tactical lens. I ended up okay, obviously, but against stronger players, and I cannot fail to examine tactical possibilities. Okay, so look, first of all, the critical problem with knight f4 is not does knight e5 work, because maybe it does. The critical problem is you're not developing. What would be a developing move? Something like rook e8. Rook e8's a simple developing move. Bring out your people, right? Okay. The problem with knight f4 is now, let's say knight e5 doesn't work. I don't know. Now white could take it. And what happened? This bishop, which was not developed, gets to develop for free. Oh, and then he starts to mess with us. Oh, no. And then all of a sudden, they're better. You know, it's not the end of the world for us, but they're doing fine now. Okay. So, what is the moral of the story? Develop your coconuts. All right, he goes for it. Knight e5, very fancy. And now this happens. Oh, this happens. I thought he was going to play bishop takes f4. You write bishop f4, knight d3. As far as I can see, bishop f4 was the best alternative to d4. I agree. And you think white is slightly better. By the way, I appreciate this analysis that you're doing here. I think you're doing fine in this position. Yeah. And you talk about bishop d3. On bishop d3, I think both bishop takes d3. Your bishop takes. You talk about queen d3, but I like this. You talk about queen h4. It's a little funky, you know. But basically, you're just fully in charge here because look at that big fat bishop on d3. Okay, good. So d4, poor move. Thank you very much. Now I think you're just up a piece. Okay. Good move. Good move. Very nice move. All right. So, Chess Caviar, great move, great game, good annotations. And again, your key thing that you need to do is you need to slow down. Okay, because Alex is here, I got to just tell him a little weightlifting story, okay? Just bear with me a second. I had that terrible illness, and oh man, I went back in to do the bench press, and I couldn't do anything, dude. I couldn't move any weight after my illness, and it was depressing, dude. And it was just like, oh, all that Progresso soup is gone. And yeah, dude, I went in yesterday. I started feeling better. I did that other, set of 5x5, and I was dying and it felt terrible, but I went back in and then I just hit my previous PR on the 5x5 and I was just like, oh, thank you. You can recover past strength. It's possible.